Hi there, my name is Toby and today I want to continue talking about my ether physics. But I want to take this up to another level. I want to be able to I'm going to start talking about plasma and fusion and radiation. But before I can get there, I've got to take this up to another level. You see, so far I've been talking about ether physics in a very simple way, and pointing out how different it is to modern physics, how different it is to quantum mechanics. And that quantum mechanics is wrong and ether physics is right. So I've been quite direct and quite, confrontational to try and open people's eyes to this idea. But the truth of the matter is, of course, we've got real physicists, real scientists who really want to know the answers. And they would be open to understanding ether if I could explain it to them in their language. So I need to try and do that. In other words, I've got to try and unify quantum mechanics and ether so that the people in quantum mechanics can see that this is the answer. There is an answer here. You see, I'm not dismissing science. I'm not dismissing modern physics at all. I'm not dismissing the technology they've created. I'm not dismissing the experiments or even their mathematics. None of that. I'm not dismissing the engineering of it. I'm talking about the next level, which is philosophy. But the philosophy also connects to the engineering. It's real physics, if I could find the language to explain it. Look at it this way. Quantum mechanics or modern physics has gone deeper and deeper, smaller and smaller and smaller. They're going to the small levels now, looking at particles. And they're trying to break them down into more and more and more particles, smaller and smaller and smaller particles. Now the problem is, that's the same problem as this old question I talked about a few times, that the earth is flat on the back of a turtle. And there's an old joke where the student and the teacher, and the teacher's telling them this, look, the earth is flat on the back of a turtle. And the student says, well, what's underneath the turtle? The teacher says, well, another turtle. Yeah, but what's underneath that turtle? Yeah, it's another turtle. And what's underneath that one? And now the teacher's getting annoyed. Look, it's turtles all the way down. So that's like quantum mechanics. They're looking at particles, go smaller as another particle. Or there must be another particle that's smaller. Or there must be another particle smaller. So what's smaller than that? Well, what's smaller than that? Another part. What's smaller than that? Oh, it's particles all the way down. Now I'm trying to say, you've got to the level of particles, but now we're at the level where it's no longer particles. We have to go smaller than particles. What is smaller than particles? Fields. Fields. And where the fields come from ether. Now, in quantum mechanics now, like I said, they've got about 50 different euphemisms already for the ether. They talk about the 0-point field. I talk about that. That's just the ether. They talk about quantum flux, quantum liquid, quantum foam, dark matter, dark energy. There's loads of these, like I said, about 50 different ones. They always boil down to something they don't understand, and then they have to create a field. They're creating fields anyway, but then they create a different field in a different scenario to try and explain it. So you've gone as far as particles are going to go. Now it's fields. Now, perhaps this is the language. In quantum mechanics now, they talk about electrons and protons, but even they say, yeah, it's not really an electron, it's a wave. It's a wave. So they're saying it now, electron's not really a particle, it's a wave. But in quantum mechanics, they don't talk about orbits of electrons, they talk about probability fields. They're now talking about it. When I studied physics years ago, back in the 90s, they were already talking about it. It was very advanced back then, but they're talking about atoms are really cymatic patterns. Cymatic patterns. That's frequencies, vibrations, harmonics. Harmonics of what? Harmonics of a field. And the field, they called it, was a probability field. A field of probability. The probability of finding an electron. Yeah, but you've gone abstract now. You've gone abstract. A field of probability, where you're talking about a field that's pure fluid, no longer particles, but from a pure fluid field of probability, what does that mean? then somehow a particle appears. Now, again, that's the ether. That's exactly my definition of the ether. The ether is inertia, a field of pure potentiality, infinite potentiality, potential energy, probability. A field of infinite probabilities. It's a philosophical field. It's the ether. It's metaphysics. From the infinite field of probabilities, something can emerge. And it emerges from a point, the 0 point. The 0 point field. Both of these are the ether. Now, if quantum physics, modern science could realize this, unify all their fields that they're talking about into one field and call it ether, now what you've done is you've gone deeper and deeper into physics, deeper and deeper. It's complex, getting more and more complex, but at some level now it's getting simpler. Then they go deeper, and then find the grand unified field, which they're trying to find. The grand unified field, here we go, the field of probability, infinite probabilities, the ether. Now, boof, they found it. Now they can work backwards. Now they can work backwards. And all the problems, because in quantum mechanics, so many different problems, it's so confusing. But if you go all the way down to the field, boof, and then work backwards. Now build your mathematics from there. Build your mathematics from the 0 point field, the field of probability, the ether, work backwards. Now you'll be able to understand everything else. It would all come together. So this is what I'm talking about, the unification of quantum mechanics and the ether. And so far I've been saying they're mutually exclusive. They're not really. They're not really. It's just they don't understand it. They just don't understand it. They're hung up on the particle. You're still hung up on the particle. That means you're stuck in materialism. You're stuck in the problem of what's beneath the turtle. Well, another turtle, another turtle, another turtle. Again, you're stuck in the problem of a Big Bang. There must be a moment of creation. What came before time? You can't say what came before time. Do you see? You have to go to the field. Unify it all. This is philosophical. It is metaphysical. It is esoteric. This also connects to the soul spirit. Consciousness. Again, it will unify everything. The ether physics is a full, holistic, unified science. It will explain all phenomena. Now, so far, it's just me and a few people trying to do it. There are not many people trying to do this. So most people talking about the ether is all quite, it's all quite, what's the word, new agey. So modern scientists just can't take it seriously. I'm trying to find a language that modern scientists will take this seriously, because it's ancient philosophy as well. Ancient people knew this stuff. It's subjective experience, subjective science as well as objective science. Again, that's difficult for modern physicists to understand. But they've already got the idea. They've already got the idea of subjective science in quantum mechanics. They say when you look at it, it changes. That's quantum mechanics. The observer affects the experiment. You can't see the experiment without it changing. That's quantum mechanics. Yeah, that's subjective science. That's ether physics. That's what I'm saying. It's experience, the person or the being, the consciousness experiencing the physics, they interact. Or rather, they are one and the same thing. The consciousness and the physics are one and the same thing. It's not even an observer and an experiment. It's one and the same thing. Again, very, very deep. Very deep. It'll take a long time to really have a proper discussion and work this out. I'm trying to explain metaphysics, which is all-encompassing. It will encompass all layers of complexity in the universe. All layers of complexity. And there are trillions, if not infinite, layers of complexity. That's why science only gets so far. I talk about it. Biology is uncovering the layers of complexity in the human body. But there's so many of them, you're going to find them forevermore. Modern physics, quantum mechanics is going deeper, deeper, looking at the layers of complexity of material substances. Atoms. Now we've gone to subatomic. Subatomic is only the neutron and the proton. Again, you have to listen to the whole series where I explain this properly. But everything boils down to the field. And the field is electromagnetism, or rather electrostatics and magnetism, dielectricity and magnetism. And the old-fashioned way of calling this, again, they unified it, electromagnetism, but in the old way they'd call this the dielectric field. The dielectric field. And that is magnetism. It's the same thing. The dielectric field is magnetism. There are two things going on, but they always come together, and you can have different variations of them. That is the interaction of the field. Everything is just an interaction of the field. And when these two things combine, it becomes one. That's the 0-point field. That is the field of probability. What is an electron? It is a unit of dielectricity, a particular quantity of pure fluid electromagnetism. But why is it a particle? Because there's a probability of finding a location where that energy is noticed. In other words, the electron itself is a 0 point when you locate it. A 0-point field. The field of probability, infinite, locates into a point, the 0 point. But they're the same thing. They're the same thing. Again, I'm talking philosophically. If you're a serious physicist, I hope you can look behind what I'm saying. Try and apply this philosophy to the higher level quantum mechanics you already understand. Like I said, there's a lot of discussions have to happen with this. A lot of discussions. I have to go into more detail of what a proton is, what a neutron is, what an electron is, and what atomic states are, because I want to be able to talk about plasmas, fusion, the transmutation of matter, i.e. that is simply one element changing into another element, but there's also the creation of matter. Matter is also created, and again it's been proven, two high energy lasers shooting each other created matter. So light becomes matter. In other words, it's all just light. What is light? Light is electromagnetism. They're already saying it. They're already saying it. They just got to build it into the mathematics, go all the way down to the field, and then from the field come backwards again. Because the field is metaphysics. You have to now go into geometry. You have to go into mathematics, but the mathematics around incommensurability, the golden ratio. Again, it's going to have to be a lot of discussions to get this anywhere. A lot of serious-minded physicists have got to look into this. People have got the mathematics. I haven't got all that mathematics. I've got the philosophy. I've got the philosophy. It's more than one brain can do. To make this into real technology, it's more than one brain can do. But my point is, ether physics, it seems like philosophy. It is. It's philosophy. It's metaphysics. Geometry for its own sake. How has geometry got anything to do with physics? Well, they know it has. They know it has. All technology is geometry. They know it. But if you take geometry going back into the field of probability, the 0-point field, now you're understanding metaphysics. You're now working with the ether. And that is not electromagnetism. You're going back. You've gone down to the atom. You've gone down to the proton, the neutron, the electron. Yeah, electron now we're going down to the magnetic field, the electromagnetic field, the dielectric field. Now you've gone down to the field, electromagnetism. But from electromagnetism, you've got to go down further to the unified field. The unified field is the ether. The unified field is the ether. Now you've got to start again, because that is not physical. That is outside space and time. That is the prequel to space and time. It is the prequel to the electromagnetic field. That is where all your things like instantaneous action at a distance, quantum entanglement, all these sort of things, forward and backwards particles in time, all these things apply to the ether. But in the ether also applies consciousness, soul, spirit, feelings, imagination. Imagination is not reality, but it is because we are imagining it. But imagination cannot come into reality without electromagnetism. And electromagnetism must follow the laws of mathematics, i.e. the golden ratio mathematics. So science is not dealing with imagination, but it has to. Imagination is in the ether. The ether is not physical, it is the prequel to the physical. So if quantum mechanics can go smaller, 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 now they go to the field, now they go to the prequel of the field, that's the 0 point, that's the field of probability. And then you're talking about harmonics, frequencies, vibrations, cymatics in the field of probability, that is the ether. That is a soul. A soul is a cymatic, a point of inertia, a 0 point in the ether, the prequel to electromagnetism. Do you see? But one will create the other. The prequel comes before the sequel. So quantum mechanics has just got to take the final step, the last step into the unknown. And they can't quite do it. They're still hung up on materialism. The unknown is metaphysics. And quantum mechanics, they're getting very confused. They know it's confusing, but they can't take the step into the mystery. That is the ether. That will unify it all. Unify everything. So I hope this made sense. I'm trying to go deeper and deeper with my Aether Physics series. And I have to, so this is what I'm trying to do. I want to lead up to talking about plasmoids and the transmutation of matter, both physical and biological, which is still physical. And this could only happen for a new thing called plasmoids. But we're leading up to that. I'll talk about that soon. So thank you so much for listening. Please do check my channel and look through all my videos. They're all different. And I talk about this from so many different angles. But I hope that today's video, everyone should be able to understand that. I want a real scientist to be able to understand this, as well as, a spiritual person. That sort of thing. We should all be able to understand it. It unifies everything. Everything is unified by Aether Physics, which is the ancient practice of the Force. It's a real thing as well. So thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.